We got Alex Perez back here on the program. He's going to be taking on Jose Shorty Torres at UFC 227 on August 4th. Alex, what's going on, man? How you doing?
I'm good, man. How are you?
I'm doing very well. Good to talk to you again. Now, where am I getting you today? Did you just finish up a practice? Or are you about to go to practice? Where am I getting you?
I'm about to go to practice. It's about 9 o'clock here, so about to head to practice in about 30, 40 minutes.
Good stuff. Well, yeah, I know some fighters are different. Sometimes they do like the strength and conditioning, like first thing in the morning, and then they do other things. So I'm always curious to hear what people have planned for the day. But first off, I wanted to sort of start this interview with the year you've had. I mean, I was just looking back at this. You know, it was close to a year ago that you won on Contender Series. Now you're 2-0 in the UFC, just 26 years old. Has that hit you yet? The success you've had over the last year?
I mean, yeah, no. I'm happy, 2-0 in the UFC, but I'm not satisfied. I really don't celebrate too long. After the fight, usually I'm like, okay, what's next? I got places I want to be, and I know the steps I need to get there. So right now, I'm just focused on this next one.
Yeah, no, I hear you. But I mean, at the very least, you're a mainstay in the UFC now. It's like, you've established yourself. I think, you've had so many pro fights that I think this is, kind of really showing the results of all the hard work you put in. So it's just kind of putting a positive spin on that. But let's talk about your last fight, man. You get that unanimous decision over Eric Shelton at UFC on Fox 28. I know you would have liked the finish, but I'm sure you were pretty happy with your performance in that fight.
Yeah, always happy to get the win. Was my best performance, but, a win's a win. I learned a lot from the last fight, and yeah, the only thing I could do is go back, look what the mistakes I made, and where to get better, and that's what I've been doing.
And now you're fighting Shelton's teammate Jose Shorty Torres. Obviously he had a pretty interesting debut. How do you feel like you match up against him here?
I think it's gonna be a good fight. We both like to come forward, so I really don't take too many steps back. Same thing with him. I think we match up pretty good. I know he's a pretty good wrestler. I know he likes to stand up and bang, so it should be a good fight. Hopefully, we get fight of the night.
And I know you're based in California. He lives in Florida now, and he was fighting for Titan FC before he got in the UFC. But was he someone you had your eye on, just in general, just keeping tabs on what was happening, when you were on the regional scene as well?
Not really. I really don't pay attention to too many people besides myself. I just try to worry about myself, and then if they offer a fight, then obviously then I kind of start looking into him. But nah, I heard of him a couple times. He's a well-known guy throughout the MMA world. So I heard of him a couple times. Kind of didn't really look him up and stuff. So I mean, yeah.
Okay. Well, does it add a little bit more the fact that he's undefeated? You could be the first guy to hand him a loss.
It's whatever. It's just another
Okay.
fight, man. Like I go in there and win. I beat him. I beat him. If I don't, I don't. I don't really try to put that much pressure on myself. Like, oh, I'm going to be the first one to beat him. Like I said, whoever's the best guy that night is going to win.
Did you watch his debut, that fight with Jared Brooks?
Yeah. I think I was watching the fights with somebody, and we ended up watching it. So yeah.
Okay, well, what did you think? Because it obviously ended a little bit weird. Brooks, dropped him, knocked himself out, and then Torres ended up getting the finish. What did you think about Torres, his performance leading up to that?
I think he's tough. He comes forward a lot. I think he started catching his rhythm in the second round. Yeah, like he did his thing. Not every fight's gonna go the way you plan. So, I mean, he came out the first round. I think he came out maybe a little bit slower than he wanted to, just trying to get adjusted to some, Brooks' movement or whatever. But towards the second round, end of the second round, he started catching his rhythm, started going forward, started putting combinations together. So, I mean, he looked good. It just sucks for Brooks, bad place, for him to be. But at the end of the day, it's a win's a win.
How's training camp going, and who've been some of your main training partners?
Camp's always good, I stay training consistently. I don't really take vacations and stuff, so this is what I do full time. So I mean, I'm always in training camp, as you can say, but it's going good. Nothing, no injuries, weights on point. Some of the main training partners I have is Desmond Torres, Fernando Padilla, Chito Vera. We got some new guys in, Dean. We got Blake. So training camp's been very good. I'm excited for this fight.
And for those who don't know, Alex is a little bit like Rocky in a way. Like he mentions there that he doesn't take any vacations, and I know you don't have I believe you don't own a TV or you don't watch TV, but it's like you're very laser focused on this career, which I think is very interesting.
yeah, we only get one shot at what we want to do, and I'm gonna try to take advantage to the fullest. And if that's what I got to sacrifice, then I'm gonna sacrifice it.
Do you ever watch any other fights, or is it just you just don't even watch TV at all?
I like to watch fights. I like watching fights with certain people. Some people, like sometimes I watch people fights with some people. They're like, "Hey, f them up, f them up." Like, oh, dude. I'm like, man, I like watching fights with people that know what's going on.
Big time. I can even relate to that. It is so annoying to go to like a sports bar or something and you have these idiots just yelling at, if it goes to the ground, like stand him up. Like, come on, like you got to be educated.
Yeah,
I'm the
exactly.
same way. I call myself a bit of like an MMA snob that way, where it's like I'll only watch fights either by myself or with like a select group of friends that I know aren't going to say dumb crap during the fight.
Exactly. I'm the same way. So like we all watch the fights together. Our team is very family oriented, so we all hang out together and stuff. So we usually watch the fights together. Even the people at our gym, they'll come over and watch the fights with us. They know what's going on, so that always makes it better.
And you mentioned the weight cut. Are you working with perfecting athletes still as far as getting down to 25?
Yeah, I'm working with perfecting athletes still. I know in Florida I missed the weight. Like people are like, oh, perfecting athletes. It's actually nothing on them. We actually missed our flight.
No, I remember we talked about this after the fight. Yeah, there was that huge issue. We had that layover, right? So.
Well, yeah, some people are like, oh, perfect. I was like, I had nothing to do on them. Like that. If anything, they just shows how good they are. They got me to half a pound over. But yeah, like I said, I've been working with them. My weight's on point. Especially in being in California, they CSAC's come like 3 or 4 times. Oh, how's your weight? Blah, blah, blah. Made them do videos and stuff like that. So my weight's on point. CSAC's happy with it. So, I'm right where I need to be.
Who's going to be in your corner for this fight?
Who's going to be in my corner will be Colin Oyama, Ron Turner, and then one of my training partners, Desmond Torres.
Awesome. And how do you see this fight playing out on August 4th?
Me coming out with the win. His biggest strengths are he comes forward and he in his gas tank, and usually those are my strengths. So I'm expecting a 3-round fight. Fight of the night performance from both of us. Hopefully, we get that extra money in our pocket, fight of the night. But I'm gonna win either anyway, knockout, submission, or decision. Don't matter. But I'm just expecting a war.
Okay. And where do you feel like a win over him puts you? He's undefeated, like I mentioned. He's a former Titan FC champion. I imagine that would look good on the resume, especially if you got a finish. Where do you feel like this situates you in the division?
Honestly, I'm not too sure. To me, it doesn't matter. I'm here to fight everybody. I don't turn down any fights. I think they've offered me quite a bit of fights, and I've said, yeah, people have turned me down, which is fine. I'm here to fight. Even if I'm not close to weight, I still take the fight. Even the perfecting license, like, you shouldn't be taking these fights. It's gonna be a hard weight cut. I'm like, so I take fights no matter what. I'm just worried about this one and what's next. Who knows? I'm just ready for this one.
Would you want a veteran after this? It seems like a lot of your opponents are up-and-comers like yourself. I know every fighter wants to get sort of that win over like a notable vet in the UFC, or does it not matter to you? You'll just fight whoever?
It don't matter to me. I'll fight whoever. Eventually, like I tell people, I'm going to have to fight everybody in the division to get to where I want to be. So it don't matter if it's now or later. It's going to happen eventually.
And last question, we talked about you, not watching a lot of TV. Did you watch the World Cup at all? It seems like a lot of people were into that.
No, not really. I watched a couple of games. I was actually I went to go visit my dad in Mexico, and at the airport when I was coming back, Mexico was playing Germany. So I watched that game. It was crazy being out there because when they scored the goals, the Mexican airport was like no one was working. Everybody was just watching the game. So it was pretty crazy watching that. But other than that, I really didn't pay too much attention to it.
Well, we certainly got to pay attention to this fight. It's a pivotal matchup in the flyweight division. It is UFC 227 coming up here on August 4th. Alex, it's always good catching up with you, man. Just remind people where they can find you on social media, and if you have any sponsors or shout-outs, the floor is yours.
Yeah, you can find me on social media, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Alex Perez MMA. Just want to thank all my friends, family, teammates for helping out. Some of my sponsors I like to shout out that have my back since day one. ATTC, Healthy Meals Kitchen, and that's about it. And OC Fight Doc, always keeping me healthy. Those guys are amazing. Without them, I wouldn't be as healthy as I am. Thank you.
What's up, fight fans? If you like this video, be sure to subscribe to see even more interviews with your favorite UFC and Bellator fighters. We've also got coverage at events, including post-fight press conferences and media scrums. And if you like this video, check out the video to my right. It's worth your time.